Just let go, Just let go,
I mean, if you need that example given to you, Sasha, that's
What
really
example?
bad.
Just
There you
let
go.
go,
I
Joe,
just
go.
said it. If you just
I didn't
listen
hear
to
you because you were yapping over me. What did
Let
you
go,
say?
Joe, go. Let go, Joe, go. Go, go. Go,
Okay,
Joe.
thank you. So I will keep saying what I was saying earlier.
You worship a pedophile.
I worship your mother. She's a pedophile. She
All right,
she
the
raped
next
you when you were
person
still a
to
baby.
interrupt Gojo,
So, I will
I'm going to
continue.
move you down. Sorry, I don't mean to be mean, but let him finish, please.
Yeah. What I was saying, whatever you define as age of, adulthood or whatever, this thing is not objectively defined. It depends on many factors, and we have writings. This is like literally scientific studies you can have. I'm gonna start with a study that you can find in PubMed, and this is just gonna the type of the article. The title is the evolution of the age at menarche from prehistorical to modern times. In this paper, you would find that menarche would be the age of at menarche would depend on many factors, and some of them are environmental, and some of them, one of the environmental factors that really has been shown by Baron de Montesquieu. He wrote a book about in the 18th century. He said, in hotter places, people become mature at younger ages. So naturally, in these places, people will see maturity where the average age, the life expectancy would be 30 years. In these places, people will naturally get married at younger ages. This was the natural and normal practice in these places. And marriage is defined in two ways. In our religion, marriage is just the first contract. In my country, for example, when you're born, you already have a marriage contract with your cousin most of the time. You already have a marriage contract. When you're already born, you're a child, you're a baby, you already have a marriage contract. It doesn't mean that you're practically married with this person. It just means that you have a contract. So this is how it was back then, and it is still how it is in Islam. The marriage is only a contract. Then the proper marriage, that actualization of the marriage, is done after you have consummated the marriage. This has happened at 9 years old for Aisha radiallahu anha, and she herself said she was a woman back then because she already menstruated. And we know that if we find an objective way, criteria to define adulthood, it would be that age, at the age at menarche. And we have scientific papers who show us that the age of at menarche could be 7 years old, it could be less than that. In fact, the youngest mother in history is a 5 years old woman.
Yes, because of
so this is how we define it.
Wait,
now in Islam, and I will land here.
About that.
And I will
So
land
you
here.
gotta move Kitty down.
And I will.
Gojo, go ahead and land in 30 seconds.
I prefer if he crashes his plane.
And I will land here, and I hope I'm gonna hear a rational argument. Okay, your mother is a pedophile, and she raped you when you was a baby. So
I'm the one who had to fight for you to be able to finish speaking.
Okay, so other people
Your
have
mother,
to talk.
your mother, the pedophile. Your mother, the pedophile, raped you when you were a baby.
I didn't say that.
I have a question.
Everyone on this
What
page,
if God was
what you're defending. You're saying that
Can I just land
your defense. No, listen to what you're saying. A 5-year-old, the youngest woman to give birth. Even though there has been all of this to show, they inject hormones into chicken McNuggets at McDonald's. Look,
I thought that you finished.
I haven't. I said I will land.
There's no way he hadn't finished at that point. There was a grand
so
policy.
Gojo's still
I
going,
haven't
so
finished. I will land.
probably be quiet.
30 seconds and I will land.
Yeah, but
So
you just
the other criteria. So the first one.
You're not.
Russia, take
So the first
Kitty down.
criteria.
Sasha and I are both waiting very patiently.
So
while Kitty's interrupting.
physical maturity. That's the first criteria.
I'm sorry. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, so physical maturity was the first criteria. The second one would be, mental and emotional maturity. That was the second one. And she was taken into battlefields back then. That was the case in the deserts back then. Into battlefields with her family back then. She already was mature. She was going and doing all these things. She herself said that. So she also was mature emotionally, and this was accepted by the culture, and this was accepted by her parents, because her parents, she was already betrothed to someone else before even getting married to the Prophet. Therefore, her parents also accepted it. All these 4 criteria are there within the Islamic discourse. Nowadays, if someone, whatever the age they are, if they meet all these criteria and they are willing to get married, this see, there is no problem with that. If you are gonna come,
Oh my God, man.
I hope.
Crash your
you're gonna
play,
listen.
bro.
You're disgusting.
Because I absolutely don't care about your emotions.
Go ahead
Can
and
I respond?
sure, Sam.
Yo, Muhammad is a
Oh
pedophile.
God.
Always
Okay,
said
like your
he's a
grandfather who
pedophile.
raped you, like your mother who
Hey,
raped you.
guys,
Your mother. Okay. Bye.
Okay,
You
I
also-
have an honest question. Gojo. Let me ask him a question. Let me ask the stage a question. Let me ask the stage. Let me ask the stage. Let me ask the stage. Let me ask the stage a question.
Ask him if he has any kids.
I've been waiting.
So,
You said I could respond, so I should be able to respond.
yeah. Thanks for your response.
No, well, you didn't let me give my response.
Oh, that.
If he's just gonna insult like that, then motherfucker, I'm just gonna leave.
You talked for like
If he
20
insults
minutes
me,
about why fucking 9-year-olds is fine. I should never
like your mother raped you when you was.
Okay, guys,
Yeah, this-
listen. Guys, listen. Okay, hold on a second.
You remove me, no problem. I'm gonna
I
leave
have a
you.
quick
You
question.
literally made a toothpaste and
I need to rethink my
Your
life
mother should have-
choices for being in
your
here.
mother should.
Like,
Your mother should
seriously,
have.
me too.
Hey, sir, and everyone else, I don't want to remove you. Like, I genuinely don't want to remove you. Just like I genuinely don't want to remove anyone else. I promise
I
you
don't-
that that's not what I want to do. But if I have to, I will. I'm only asking for one thing, is that you mute your mic and respect my mic for a moment. If you can't do that, then I will remove you, but I really don't want to. I don't want to. I have a question for the stage. This is a legitimate question. We see that there's people on stage that believe that Muhammad is the P word, okay? They believe that, a pedophile. They believe that Muhammad is a pedophile, okay? That's what they believe. Now you have another group people on stage. The thing is the people that do believe that Muhammad is, know that the people that have their religion through Muhammad do not think that. They know that. They know that the minute that they present their belief system that Muhammad is, they know that they're going to be met with apologetics. They know that all these people genuinely don't believe that Muhammad
Not
is.
apologetics.
Hold on,
Arguments.
I'm almost
Not
done.
apologetics. Arguments.
All right, great.
Move him down.
There's nothing wrong.
Move him down.
I still never got to hear what the hell I was gonna say.
There's nothing wrong with the word apologetics. I know because we hear the word apology, we think that there's, like, you're apologizing, but it's not necessarily the case. My question is this. I understand when somebody has a perspective and a view, right? Like, I get that. But, like, when you present it to those people, your view, and over you again, you see that this is not their perspective, your perspective. So it's just your perspective. It is not their perspective. Because they're going to shoot you with apologetics or whatever this man prefers for me to say. So, yeah. So the question is that okay? Like, is that okay? Like, hold on.
Yes, now can I ask my question?
At one
So your mama should have shit to do like a dumb mother.
I'm almost done.
Move him down.
I really, if I could just finish,
I have a
please.
second question.
Yeah. No, it's the same. It's the same question.
I
Can-
fixed it. You can move them down now.
Okay. Did you move him down?
The answer to the first question was yes, it's okay.
And like literally, just like look. Let me.
Hold on.
I've been trying to talk for a while. You said I could talk, and then you talked over me. I won't
No,
rap this time.
That's
I
not.
won't. I promise I won't rap.
I'm
I
not
promise I won't rap. You said
Sam, I love
Sam,
you.
you're gonna have to
Do
wait.
your Daniel impression.
You said I could speak, and then you.
Andrew, I said Sam could speak, but instead he did his best rendition with his guitar of your prophet is a P word. He was singing a song. No. Like, I really kind of don't understand what time a lot of you are on, but that's okay. I want to understand. But anyways, Andrew, back to you, and Sam, and Sasha.
Can I just
So my
in
question,
words? Can I just put under words so that I've been cut off 100,000 times? Oh yeah, go ahead. Okay.
You were cut off 100,000 times?
Yes, I was.
No,
Okay,
no.
yes.
Daniel voice, please use your Daniel.
He was singing a
When
song.
someone 50 was a normal age. People didn't just die at age 30 in ancient times. That's just you not understanding that child mortality was high. You're just being stupid and historically ignorant. That's one thing. Another thing is, no, it's not the case that people that have less nutrition go through maturity faster. In fact, when you have more nutrition, you go through maturity faster. So likely Aisha was less physically developed than us. That's another thing. Third thing is, we're not concerned about physical development. We're concerned about psychological development.
Who are you talking
And
to?
this is a person who is not educated, who is like,
Sam, who are you talking to?
like
Can you
this is
please
someone
be
who's
quiet?
No, who is he talking to?
He's
The
talking about the
stage.
person that was removed from the stage.
Yeah, he's gone, so why are we still talking about him?
because Scott, can you
Listen, I
shut
hear
your
what he
fucking
has to
mouth?
say. Yeah, thank you.
Like, we all agree, so...
Shut your fucking mouth.
We,
Really,
if we all agree,
Yeah.
does anyone
Literally
disagree?
no one.
Okay, so it is psychological development that matters, and it's not the case that 9-year-olds anywhere on Earth, anywhere, are able to consent reasonably to sex. And also, what we mean by pedophilia is not some. It just means sleeping with children before puberty, and 9 years old is squarely before puberty. So it's not even an insult of Muhammad to say he's a pedophile. It's just a descriptive claim about someone who sleeps with 9-year-olds. So he just is descriptively a pedophile. It's not even an insult. It's just descriptively what he is. It's like me saying I'm a redhead.
Right.
And this guy's spending hours and hours defending
So if
having
there's
sex with children.
but
He's
yeah.
defending it as if it's morally good. And we have to sit there and listen to this disgusting drivel.
Right.
Yes.
But yeah, at what point when the people keep telling you, "Oh, that's not what we believe. Here's our, apologetics for this," right? At what point then does it become like bullying when you know that that's not what they believe? Like from the text that they're
Yeah, he backed
So,
up.
and
He
then-
did. And yet, remember, he gave his first viewpoint. He said, and honestly,
That's Sasha Grove.
Yes, like, to answer your question directly, like, yes, it is okay. And, like, let me give you an analogy. Imagine, first of all, just that you had, like, a Nazi, a guy who says, Hitler did I think it's like, yes, you sexual tendencies or something. I don't heard it for veneration for this person. Just from history, we know that this person and the same as for Muhammad. From historical sources, it seems like he was a pedophile. Okay, then like, if that person were to start saying, no, but Hitler is really close to my heart, and also like, I think the numbers are a bit inflated, I think Hitler was like a good guy, I don't think he knew about the gas chambers, yeah, I'd want to make fun of that person still, probably even more. I just, like, them being kind of like in denial about the facts, and coming up with these like dishonest hopes about like, oh, like Aisha saw a lot of battles, so she was mentally mature enough to have sex with a 50-year-old. Like, it's just like, you're not a serious person. It's like, and especially I wouldn't want to respect that if it's not like you're just lying to yourself, but it's just like you're lying to everybody else about. Like, on some level, you know that Muhammad was a pedophile. On some level, you know that Hitler was a fucking genocidal maniac. But what you're trying to do is make your view more palatable to gain social credit and, like, kind of, like, grant your view more legitimacy in these circles.
justify.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Like, you're trying to make this
दुनिया की सबसे बड़ी मछली खानी है 1 किलो खानी है 5 किलो की 5 किलो मेरे पास है तुम्हारे पास सबसे बड़ी लगाइए दादा लगाइए जरूर सबसे पहले क्या आएगा दादा चावल चावल मिनिकेट ऑल इंडिया फेमस इसके बाद दादा आलू सिमका भुजिया ठीक है अरे सलाद डबल इनकम से फ्री हाँ कोई नहीं खिलाता ये तो कोई नहीं खिलाएगा सही बात है अरे मच्छी आदमी साथ में लाया नहीं दादा आदमी नहीं लाया अकेले नहीं उठा पाऊंगा देखो ऊपर उठा के दिखाइए दादा कितना किलो का
मोटा इंसान अक्सर यही सोचता है कि ऐसा क्या खाऊं जिससे कि पतला हो जाऊं लेकिन
मैं सोचती तो बहुत हूँ मैं डाइटिंग करूँ फिर मेरा मन जिस चीज को तरस रहा है मैं वो थोड़ी इग्नोर कर सकती हूँ
One will say, he's a terrible this, and the other one will be like, oh, the story is this. And then here's the thing. If I
state said
see they weren't innocent.
Oh, she has
All
to-
kinds of things.
So
So what I'm saying is that when we approach it like that to somebody who's like, this is the hero of the text, and anything you present to them from their perspective, this person is holy. At what point does it become?
दोस्तों एक मिनट मेरी बात सुन लीजिए कि मैं वीडियो बनाकर थक गई हूँ, लेकिन मेरी कोई भी वीडियो वायरल नहीं हो रही है। मेरे आसपास के रहने वाले मेरा मजाक
जिंदगी की शुरुआत ऐसी
Fucking Aisha, or would you let him finish like you were so concerned with letting Gojo finish?
I don't think degrading is a word, but I might be
I
wrong.
think denigrating was
Denigrating.
was intended. That's
Degrading
nice,
has
but
to
I was just gonna help you say that because I've heard you say that a few times.
It's just degrade.
denigrating is also a word.
Denigrating is, but degradating, I don't think is.
No, I don't think.
His eyes. So I'm actually curious, Daniel. It's good to see you. I haven't seen you a bit, my friend. I know our rooms get a little wild at times.
Yeah.
Had fun. Did you see what Trump posted on Instagram?
No.
He posted a picture of him as Pope. Oh, it's so funny. You gotta go to his Instagram. And then another thing I forgot is the girl I fucked, her jewelry, one of her bracelets fell off. And I have it. And I looked at it, and it's imprinted with, it says 4K Italy, like 4 karat gold Italy.
Mm.
And she hasn't texted me.
Yeah, but it's just 4 carats. Like, that ain't shit. It's just, very low percentage of gold. It's like, 20% gold or something.
Really?
Yeah, look up the percentages.
But do I fuck her again to get it back, or do I try to sell it?
Oh, bro, definitely worth just getting together again.
Okay.
It's not worth it because that thing's probably worth like $40.
Okay.
Are you home already?
Yeah, I'm home.
Holy shit! What exit do you get off at? Ohio?
Oh,
You said Ohio?
yeah.
Oh wow.
Okay. What are you doing? You going to bed soon?
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. Fine. Good to see you.
Okay, good to see you too. Talk to you soon. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.
As a Christian.
He's just trying to lump Christian ideology, or me in particular.
One more thing I want to clarify. It's not like any of these Muslims are denying that Muhammad is a pedophile. Just like, in the sense that everybody uses the word, he is a pedophile. And just what they're doing is like, they're honestly trying to muddy the waters. Just like, well, what is pedophilia, and what is the age of consent, and what is a child, and and like at the end of it, it's like, yeah, the Prophet did fuck a 9-year-old, but people mature faster in the sand. Shut the fuck.
So Andrew, Daniel was trying to say something.
Is it only that you want to make the joke like it's funny, or do you care about like breaking an indoctrination or breaking like a thought process? Is it just like good enough to humiliate them, get a joke in, everybody were laughing? Or is there any desire whatsoever to show them what you believe is true? And if there is that desire to show them that what you believe is true, is this the most expedient way to go about it? Because if I want to show somebody how their prophet or whatever is wrong and how something is harming them or whatever, I'm not going to come out the gate and say something that makes them be like, man, I'm out of here. Like, I want them to stay so we can have a real conversation about this.
I agree with that.
Well, that might not be everyone else's desire. That might not be everyone else's desire. Some people are having fun. Some people just.
I have the desire, or like, you know, I prefer they give up their belief. It's just like I think my ability to accomplish that is like next to nothing. So most of the time, what I'm doing, I'm just having fun.
Oh my God, Sasha.
But in an honest,
What?
to your first question,
so
yes,
brilliant.
no.
Daniel was
Wait a
trying to
minute.
say
The first
something.
thing,
Okay, sorry.
But I agree with what you're saying, Taylor. Actually, I want to pursue that with Sasha as well. But Daniel.
Thanks, Andrew. I love being in your rooms. You know that you know I'm an atheist, and you and I have good, respectful conversation. The title of this room is Philosophy and Theism All Welcome. And I just want to say that, you know, about 4,000 or 5,000 years we know of in philosophy and religion, we've been arguing about what is true. And however we evolve, we have at least 3,600 religions on this planet. Now, it's part of who you are, Andrew. It's part of your truth. And it is totally for you, and I get that others are false. But at the same time, it's what we agree on in our beliefs that make us our culture. And there's no way to get around from that fact. You know, we all believe many different pathways.
Did you really stop me for this fucking garbage?
Let him go, Sasha. Go ahead.
Yeah, you can tolerate it. You can tolerate
I'm an
it.
equal opportunity bully.
You can tolerate it. You can control yourself, right? Because I'm speaking my truth, okay?
Give a shit about your shit.
Well, but you
cannot
need to be
treat our guests
respectful
like
because
this,
we're in a room where we respect each other. That's what I understand of this room. Thank you.
Well, yeah, I think you have a large misunderstanding, sir.
Well, that's why I've been here, and
He's talking to me. I don't like this. He's not going back to his
that's all
point.
right.
I'm begging you, Sasha, because they're going to get not enacting any kind of
This is
politics.
not
Please,
God.
I
Just
think it
let him
started from a
finish.
place.
Well, that's true.
It started from a place of calling an entire religion that's not yours, just not true, is not really for you a way for you to engage in even developing the very precepts of your own set of beliefs. I just don't think that's very inclusive.
Oh, okay. Well, let me just say something to that real quick. So I'm not doing what Sasha did. Sasha's saying like you're a prophet's a pedophile and doing that obviously to be inflammatory. Let me just say something, Daniel. When I say something like Christ rose from the dead and there's no way to God but through Christ, I'm already saying Islam is false. I'm just saying the quiet part out loud, and I'm not doing it in a way to be offensive, but I am going to say what's true. It is implicit, and I just made it explicit. Anybody who says what I believe is true, if it's mutually exclusive to somebody else's claim, then it's not the case that both can be true at the same time in the same sense. So it is the case that I'm saying Islam is false when I say Christ rose from the dead, he is God, and you worship him. It is the case that I'm saying Muhammad's not the prophet of God, that Islam is not true, don't follow Islam, etc., etc. So I don't think that it really
makes sense. I get it.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Anyhow.
And can I speak my truth now?
Yeah, speak your truth.
Okay, and I hope everybody will be respectful toward me.
Did somebody just remove him? Okay, go ahead. Weird. Daniel's gone. He just left.
You want to be bullied?
Good.
Go ahead.
You guys are saying
It's not good. It's not good, Sasha.
that guy was a moron.
No, we can't pimp slap our guests around.
yeah, but he needs a pimp slapping like big time.
Exactly. That's a good point.
I have never agreed with Sasha and gotten along with Sasha so much. And this
I mean, like, I think Kitty's making some good points, guys. Maybe you need like more female voices to listen. That's all I'm
Would
saying.
anyone here vote not guilty if Muhammad was on trial for his crimes today? I wouldn't.
As abstain. I don't want to get killed by these terrorists.
I mean, nobody, no rational person in the West would, say that he's not guilty.
Yeah, but anyway,
Maybe
just going
so,
to my, like,
actually,
look, just think you said you wanted to.
Of pedophilia, of torturing.
Right. That's a good point. Yeah. What did you say you wanted to address from what I said?
I think Sayla's correct that if the goal is to
sorry, I remember. Sorry,
to change them being inflammatory, your response is you don't think you can do anything about it, and her response.
Yeah, well, I can do next to nothing about it. Is the point?
Well,
right?
but
my influence is next to Neil, and then it's what was happening was I was just trying to talk to Sam. I think it was a reasonably short conversation. We were just exchanging some points. And then this guy just started coming in and saying, Sam, you're a retard, you're dumb.
Yeah, but Sasha, you have Cloud who's a Muslim now. You have you who's a theist now.
I'm a theist.
Oh, are you a
agnostic?
Oh, that's a good start. Okay, so if that can happen, anything is possible.
Well, I think that can happen because I'm an honest person. Not to toot my own.
Son of a gun! I swear she ones up you every time you think it's a finished cause.
I was talking to Sasha, and I wanted to say, Sasha, the reason why I think having a probability of 1 is that if that means that entails that if Vishnu comes down and takes you to heaven and shows you all the other Hindu gods and hangs out with you for 10,000 years while you hang out with these other gods. You can never be oh yeah, I think actually Islam is you're never allowed to go, oh yeah, the Quran is false, which I think is
having an epistemic treatment. The point is
I said probability 1 of.
Yeah, but you're talking about somebody's credence, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's okay, but I mean, let me give you an analogy. If you have credence 1 in 2 plus 2 being 4, I don't think it's super unreasonable. It's okay, well, what if God shows up and shows you that it's actually 5? Then you can't show it.
Yeah, that's why
it doesn't feel
you shouldn't assign credence 1 to any of your beliefs. You should assign.
Well, sure, but that is quite controversial.
You should assign 99.9999 at max. You shouldn't assign 1 to any of them. I think that's ridiculous to assign 1 to.
Well, I mean, just think of all the kind of very basic equations you can do in arithmetic. It seems you can have a really high confidence in all of them. It's it seems it's gonna be kind of artificial to. Okay, sorry. Let's say you go through just a lot of these trivial math equations, and you checked your work a lot of times, and you're very confident you've got all of them right. It's I mean, I feel I don't want to say I have a very, very high confidence that I got all of these correct. Every single one. Even if there's a billion of them. I think I should be able to get to that point. It's a very natural way of doing that is to just say, well, I have credence 1 in every single one of these equations or something.
We love you, Sasha!
I love you too, Dr. Adams.
I'm sorry, but I don't love nobody but Sasha. I like Andrew, my black king, and Sailor.
Thanks, Galaxy. But
hey,
yeah, anyway.
I turned you in here. Hey, Dr. Adams.
Hello.
Yeah, hey, it's good.
Last one's in the middle of the point, guys. We just finished lifting on strategies.
Nah, it's okay. Andrew, do your thing.
Well, wait. No. Sasha, finish what you're saying.
I'm shy.
Don't be shy.
Here, I'll talk to these other people.
Not shy.
You talk to.
So, I agree. One thing is weird. I mean, I think it's too much. But okay, I'll do my thing. Necro, do you recognize lumping me in with Islam, thinking that was some kind of, I don't know what you thought that was to say that in chat. It's not.
No.
Well, you're well, Andrew says this, this is
Yeah,
really
because you did say in this conversation, say that you could fight Muslims on around when it came to things like Muhammad's actions, pedophilia, and the reason why, and the reason to do that. I suspect it's because in the Bible, God committed a lot of things that you would object to. Islam, things are constantly forbidden. Islam, slavery, torture. essentially, at some point it was justified for this to have happened. And so, I mean, essentially, the only reason why, that sort of moral relativism is okay is because, what?
I don't believe in moral relativism.
Can I just?
But that is, if you're saying it's permissible, today, that's, sorry, it's not, I misspoke.
Hold on, Kitty.
No, Kitty, stop interrupting me. So if you're saying at one point it was permitted, but now it's not, you're saying it's relative, that's okay at one point, therefore, morality can change.
Yeah, just because
culture.
Yeah.
So it's relative.
No, it's not. Well, don't conflate it with moral relativism. It isn't the case that it's just relative to like your culture or whatever's going on. That's not what's being said. It is the case that God can have there's an objective. You have a duty to fulfill at a particular time, and that can change at a different time. That's not inconsistent with moral objectivity. So I don't, just different times and different applications. You tell your kid not to jump out the window because it's going to hurt them or whatever. And then, at night the house is on fire and you say, jump out the window. No, it's not like it's not like, the standard can be love, right? And it's that you don't want them to jump out the window because it's going to hurt them. They're going to land second story, 2 stories up, hit the ground, it's going to hurt, whatever. But then if the house is on fire, then you tell them to jump out the window. Yeah, you said something different at a different time, right? Even close proximity doesn't really matter.
So
You have to listen to that person in context and read it thoroughly. And I don't think that Necker's ever going to be able to read the Bible.
But hold on. I got you, Kitty. Hold on real quick, Kitty, because I'm trying to respond to the points. So the other thing, but just to be clear, that's objective. And then when you said that, I said that I don't really object to what they're doing. Here's the thing. Let me be clear. Muslims believe that Islam is true. Well, I don't know how many of them, really think it's true, or how many of them are in tension about that. I don't know how many of them think Muhammad was not a pedophile, or how many of them, are in tension about that. I don't know what their psychology is. But hold on. Here's what I'm saying. I'm saying that, I don't think those things are good, but if it's the case that they're convinced that Islam is true, if Islam is true, then those things would be good, and our moral intuition would just be wrong. Okay. But that's just saying if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. I mean, if they're right, then they're right, and I would be wrong. I understand that. But that's just saying that God is the arbiter of what is moral and what's not. That his character determines that. And so that's not really there's no newsflash there. As far as like, that you said it's morally bankrupt. What are you talking about? It's not morally bankrupt. I'm saying there's an absolute standard. It's God, the supreme being, and we are familiar with it because he's made us able to be familiar with it. It's like actual furniture of the universe. I can figure out that we shouldn't be murdering people. I can figure out that we shouldn't be raping people. It's there. I can feel it. It's there.
So the reason why I say it's morally bankrupt is because it says that essentially that we cannot have morality without God because they are right.
I don't think it's possible that way. I don't think it's
okay. Kim.
But that's not what I'm saying, though, Necro.
No, but you're saying
the other.
You decry morality that is not consistent with your understanding of God, but you're essentially saying that it's okay if God himself says so.
Then I would be wrong. Yeah, then I would be wrong about God. But if I'm correct, which I'm quite convinced that I am, then I'm right about that. And no, this other morality is not. It's immoral.
But your if is a lot of heavy lifting.
You can say it's a lot of heavy lifting, but I didn't say
because you have to demonstrate that what you believe is true.
No, you can just read the Bible.
Okay, now we're getting into, hold on, Kitty. Now we're getting into if God exists. But I'm just saying, you saying it's morally bankrupt. If you're just saying you don't believe God exists, hold on. If you're just saying God doesn't exist, well then say that. But to say it's morally bankrupt, it's only in virtue of God not existing. Because if God exists, you'd be wrong. If I'm characterizing God correctly, and God is actually the Christian God, exactly. If the Christian God exists, and I'm actually in relationship with that God, then it is the case what I'm saying, like about what he's asking of us, like that I'm identifying moral facts, and if they're contrary to some other people's conception of morality, like if people think abortion's okay or whatever the case may be, they would be wrong.
Yeah,
And
so,
so
and like I said, the reason why, you knowing, I mean, I'll just set this aside, is, knowing the reason why it is relevant is because you being right about abortion and wrong is contingent upon you knowing what God tells you. And so if you can't demonstrate to everybody else that you have the right understanding of God, then, of course, for all we know, you could be just as wrong as ISIS.
yeah, I could be wrong, but you said it is morally bankrupt.
Yeah, it is morally bankrupt.
How is it morally bankrupt?
Because essentially what is moral relativism, that you can't have some sort of firm planting of morality, because essentially if the Nazis had won, then that would, the fact that, inside their society, that they're right because they won would be absurd. But that is essentially what theism is predicated on. If you have it where it's like God is the person who says what he says. And like in the Bible, it says that slavery was okay. And so this is the only reason
You're just will say. I don't think you're listening.
Christians will say that it's okay.
Necro.
And so,
Necro.
if
A lot of Christians don't say that it's okay.
What?
A lot of Christians don't say that it's okay. I think they're being inconsistent.
No, you
just to be clear, I think it's a combination. I don't think God's saying it's good. I think he's accommodating culture where it's at. But that being said, look, that's not really the issue here.
I don't advocate stealing. I just recommend that's okay.
Hold on. No, please wait, Kitty. Please wait. If the Christian God exists, okay, and that's the God that I know, then wouldn't it be the case that what the Christian God says is true?
These socially regressive attitudes.
Are you talking morally?
Yeah, well, not just that. What he says about everything, but yes, morally as well.
I don't see how.
Okay, what is the? Hold on. See, Kitty, wait. What do you think Christians take the Christian God to be?
That he's the creator of the universe. That he is the person who. Of course.
Let me just help you out real quick. He's morally perfect. He knows everything. He's all powerful.
No one is saying nobody's perfect.
So, that being said, Necro, let's try this again. If the Christian God exists, and I know that God, is it the case that what the Christian God says is true? Okay, let's try this again. So, let's add to that, because apparently he's morally perfect. I'm going to include in that so you understand. He cannot lie. Okay?
Okay. So his morality, so if I can, so it doesn't matter if I can, so does it not matter if I can show there's no consistency?
You aren't going to be able to. He knows everything. He cannot lie in what he tells you about. He makes a statement about reality. This is the case. This is wrong. Do not do this. You ought not do this as a human. Don't do this. Would he be correct? Would he be correct?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see that it's a commandment would necessarily follow that, because God commanded this, that therefore.
This is bizarre. So he's morally perfect. He knows everything.
Yeah,
he can't. Hold on. He's morally perfect. He knows everything. He cannot lie. So he'll never violate moral perfection. He'll never lie. He knows everything. He tells you this is wrong. Don't do it. Is he correct to tell you that it's wrong? Don't do it. Is that correct? Is that statement correct? Is it those two claims about, or the claim that it's wrong and then the command not to do it? Is it correct that you ought not do it?
Yeah, let's see how.
You don't see how that would follow. Show me how it doesn't follow.
Yeah, because I think essentially we just want to accept that God would have to necessarily be, because of course, the person who was involved in could never lie.
What? No, I stipulated. Kitty, please. I stipulated this. No, but Kitty, please. I stipulated this. Necro, I don't know what you're doing right now. And this is why it's kind of concerning to have a conversation with you. I made it very clear. If this God exists, okay, and this God knows everything, is morally perfect, cannot lie, makes a statement about reality. Is it true?
And that's means for me to say that 2 plus 2, that you can say 2 plus 2 is 5.
He wouldn't, but presumably he wouldn't say that.
Presumably, that's interesting.
Yeah, presumably, because I think 2 plus 2 is 4, and I don't think he would come down and say that. I think that would be, I don't think it's possible for God to say that.
So God is limited, that he's some person who can't work in the service ways.
What? Dude, why? Necro, you're not answering my question.
Well, the thing is just that there's, as you can assume, God cannot all these perfections.
Dude, this is a
that there's no sort of.
It's a hypothetical.
You're asking me a question, assuming that
What are you doing right now?
suppositions cannot be
Necro, if hippopotamus can fly, can hippopotamus fly in this hypothetical?
But definitionally, hippopotamuses don't fly.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, you're not.
There's a wiring.
Are you just not an honest interlocutor, bro? What are you doing right now, Necro? Like, this is really bad.
So would you?
This is the worst display. This is the worst display. Hold on. Katie, please quit interjecting. Yeah, go ahead, Necro.
So, if you were to accept that war was the foundation of morality, accept that.
The first one that comes to mind is the one.
If I were to accept it, then I would accept it. Yeah.
Okay. So you'll accept any person if they're like.
I didn't say I would accept that. You said if you were to accept it.
Yeah,
I'm not accepting
you
it.
can definitionally use any person as a foundation of morality.
Necro, what are you doing right now?
Just
Just because you're setting up a different hypothetical. Look, I'm not going to do this disingenuous stuff that you're doing. I just said if
I'm
hippopotamus.
doing the same thing that we're doing.
No, you're not. You're not understanding how you're just not reasoning properly. If it's the case that hippopotamus can fly, can they fly?
I mean, definitionally, you can do it.
Now you're just saying, what are you talking about right now? Why are you doing this?
If you want to do definitions,
I'm not talking about
I just see
definition.
this as I don't see.
Yeah, you're just not answering honestly, and it's really weird.
I just don't see the point of asking you these questions.
You know, you don't really see the point. How about you answer honestly?
Well, I just think we got
But dude, because you don't answer honestly, I guarantee you I'm on track for what we're talking about, but you're just not answering honestly. If it's the case that there's a hippopotamus that can fly, can a hippopotamus fly?
Let's answer the definition if you want to do that.
I'm not talking about definitionally. I just said not definitionally. Not definitionally.
Is it possible that if the unicorns are visible, that they can be invisible?
Yeah, it is. Yep, it would be.
So just definitionally, you can make anything, right?
No, it's not even definitionally. Maybe they get conferred some power by some other being, and then they can do it. And then you just say, okay, they can do it now. It doesn't mean that
So
they
if
had.
I were to accept anything as the foundation of morality, then as long as it's not inconsistent, I guess you could.
Why are you doing this, Necro?
So if God
Oh,
is not
every
inconsistent
queen
with his moral system,
No, he's not inconsistent with his own moral system.
I missed
understand
it.
you.
I
I understand
missed
you
it,
believe
bro.
that, but
Yeah, but you're wrong. How is he inconsistent with his own moral system? Point out
well,
one. Where?
so then certainly you can explain.
Give an example.
Right. So, like for example, when God Himself, when He admitted that he had Job's family killed and all this.
No, he didn't admit.
No,
he had killed.
he literally said.
He did not have.
No,
Job.
let me finish.
Stop kidding.
So, in Job chapter 2, verse 3, God said, "You conspired to do this against Job for no reason whatsoever." So
Yeah.
God
Do
admitted
what?
this.
Do what? Do what against Job?
Kill his family.
Remove his hedge of protection.
Yeah. So Job, he
Yeah.
did that for no reason.
Yeah. God didn't kill Job.
So
or his family.
God unjustly,
Andrew, throw
put
out the
Job
fact.
through torture.
No, he actually gave him back everything that he had.
Yeah, I mean, Migzel will argue.
Yeah, he didn't give him back his children that died.
Necro.
Yes,
Migzel
he
will argue his
did.
children.
No, he
Hold on,
didn't. He gave him
God's
20
name.
children.
Oh my God.
Kitty, hold on. McZed will argue that God didn't, that ultimately his family didn't even die. But even if you say that they did, okay, fine, that's fine. Even I don't care. Listen, even if you say that they did, God did give him another family. Now you can say, "Oh, that's terrible."
Like his children were killed.
But Necro, I get
like
it.
that compensated.
Like that Necro. Here's the larger point, though. First of all, I disagree with you that God did it. God removed his hedge of protection. He's not the one that did it. It was Satan. So don't conflate the two. But secondly, God doesn't. God, where are you seeing that this is inconsistent with God's own morals? What are you talking about? God has no obligation. So how's this inconsistent?
Because he allowed an innocent person to
and how's that inconsistent with his own morals?
Because he had no reason. He unjustly.
You aren't the one that dictated. How is that inconsistent with his morals? Kitty, stop. Kitty, stop.
He had no
Necro,
just cause,
with his, with you by your lights. You aren't the.
No,
God.
by God. He
no. Oh yeah. Where does it say that he won't kill somebody? Where does it say that? Because what I see, it says the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh, and he kills and makes alive.
He had no just cause.
And you by whose lights, Necro?
By God's own words.
Oh yeah, by God's own lights, he had no just cause.
He said that for no.
Hold on. God has no cause to do what he did.
Yes, that's what he said.
Oh, no. You mean?
Yes, he did.
No. He didn't say he had no cause to do what he did.
No reason.
Oh, well, let's read it. What's the passage?
Yeah, Job chapter 2, verse 3.
Yeah.
Then the Lord said to Satan, "Consider my servant Job."
You said 2, verse 3.
Yeah, chapter 2, verse 3. Then the Lord said to Satan,
An unorthodox parent.
And there's no one under him. He is blameless and upright. So he is a man who fears God and shuns evil. So he is in September. Though you incited me against him to run him without any.
Yes, that means Satan has no reason. There's no reason for God to do that based on what Satan is asking of him. He's not saying, "Hey, let's kill Job for a reason." Like, there's no just reason for God to go and be like, "Oh yeah, I want to kill him because of this." That doesn't mean God can't kill him. Satan's not presenting him a reason, but God's allowed to do what he wants to do. It's consistent with his nature, which of course it will be. God can't act out of accord with his own nature. He can have reasons for doing what he's doing that aren't. Satan didn't present him with any.
Job was innocent. He was blameless and upright. God had no reason to cause Job's suffering.
You incited me against him to ruin him without any reason. You incited me.
Yes, because that was a part of the bet.
You incited me. Necro, you don't understand the statement.
No,
you've been.
He actually gave back 10 children.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah, so like,
please stop.
God was good, and if God killed your child.
No, we're not going to get into that. Stop.
No, that's.
Well, God killed both my children, so what do you want to talk about?
Yeah, okay, so stop, guys. Stop. It's not about that. Okay, I don't care what any individual's personal perception. We're talking about God's morality. You said that this showed that this was inconsistent, that God is inconsistent with his own standard.
Yes.
Read this. No, hold on. Stop. This says, and he still maintains his integrity, though you incited me against him to ruin him without any reason. You incited me to do this without a reason. You incited me to do this without a reason. But God can have a reason for allowing Satan to do what he did. That's completely different. And you saying that that's God just having no reason for acting at all. No, he has a reason for doing what he did. That's not the point. This rubs Satan. No, hold on. This humiliates Satan. This was good. This humiliates Satan. And it also strengthens Job.
I wonder what God's reason would be if Job knew the answer to if he knew about the Big Bang, and when God asked him, "Were you there when the foundation of the earth?"
Yeah. So what
would be God's excuse for not giving Job a reason?
Well, I mean, dude, Job is a great question. Like, when you bring up Job, why did the devil, make a bet with God about the protective hedge around Job?
Are you a Christian, Doc?
Yeah, Doc.
I'm 100%, you know, a follower of my Lord Jesus Christ.
Okay, then you don't mind that you don't have a problem with all of that. So we're good, right?
Well, when you're talking about the Old Testament and Job, and when the devil is in the throne room of God, talking to God, and like God is like, hey, what do you think about my guy Job over here? And like the devil's like, hey, well, if you didn't have that protective hedge around them, you know, they're like, yeah, I'll take that protective hedge.
Yeah.
And then like he took that protective hedge, and you know, all this shit rained down on Job, and you know what Job said? The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away.
Yeah. Do you have a right to God's protective hedge? Do you think you have a right to that? Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so.
Job had no reason. He had committed no.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. That's not the point.
And the Lord, and I said, as I said, the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away.
And God will show mercy to whom He shows mercy. God will kill whom He wants to kill.
The only reason God did it was because He wanted to win a bet against Satan.
Yeah, win a bet. You make it seem stupid. You just completely.
Well, that's what do you?
It was literally a bet between God and the devil. Dude, why would they talk about his hedge? Why would they talk about his hedge then?
Justin, you can come in. Just let me say this real quick. It's not about a bet. You guys need to quit saying that. That's like an atheist talking point. It's not a bet. God has no chance of losing. There's no bet.
Dude, I'm a Christian. Who are you talking to?
I'm saying that you're copying an atheist talking point. There's no bet.
So whatever you want to call it, the devil challenged God.
Yeah, the devil challenged God, and God knows with certainty he's going to fail. And he knows with certainty he's going to fail.
He said Job only loves you.
Yes, that's right. That's right. He said all kinds of stupid stuff.
He challenged him, saying that
yes, I understand.
I understand. So how is that not a bet?
Do you know what?
Yeah, and it was done in the throne room of God.
Doc, shut up. I need you to wait, Doc. Necro, a bet entails a chance to lose. It is not a bet. There's no chance to lose. God has certainty.
Well, didn't the devil think he was as good as God? Isn't that why he got smited in the first place?
Justin, I don't think...
Listen, Doc, the devil is at the bottom of your beer can. Be quiet.
Yeah.
Be quiet.
Hey, listen to you closeted faggot. Shut your fucking mouth.
Here we go.
Doc, please wait. Justin, before you say the bet point, I just want you to know, if you take a position of open theism or anything like that, which I don't think you do, then God knows all free choices. There is zero uncertainty about what will happen in the future. So if God says, "Hey, I'm going to do this with you," or whatever that's you, He would know with certainty every action that's going to take place. There's no bet involved. But you can go ahead and you can say whatever you want.
Yeah, it'd still be a bet.
Can
someone put out? Please wait. If you don't stop.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry, Mr. Justin. I'm sorry, Mr.
Please wait. Go ahead, Justin.
Yeah, it's still a bet, even to the people that don't know what's going to happen. So the angels are there. That says the sons of God came before the Lord, and Satan came also. So for the angels who are not omniscient, they don't know what's going to happen. So what Job was going through, he was going through a test. In order for it to be a real test, there has to be a chance that someone can fail or lose. So we all are going through tests. Jesus even went through a test. Jesus passed the test. And it was only a true test because he could have failed. Now, the thing is, Job passed just like how Jesus passed. Job proved that you can be perfect, and even if you lose everything, you still can honor God. So you don't need good things for you to be good. That's what Job proved.
It was a bet. That's an interesting point, Sir Justin. Notice we were talking about God. They say God made a bet. I don't think God made a bet, but I think God.
No, the devil made the bet with God.
I'm going to have to move you down.
You're just arguing
semantics. No. I'm not arguing semantics because I'm going to agree with Justin.
Yeah, you are.
No, okay, Doc, stop. I'm going to agree with you. I've asked you like 6 times, Doc. Please stop. I'm going to argue that God, there's no uncertainty there on God's behalf. You agree with that, right, Justin?
Right. You can still be certain, and it still be a bet to you. devil, he thinks he's going to win.
Well, so if we talk about a bet, and I think we're talking about gambling, this is why I just think it's kind of a, because they also want to say things like gamble. That's another term that we use. They gambled over Joe. The term entails a chance to lose, and I'm just going to say that that's fine if you don't accept the semantics of that, Justin. I think that is fair to say that. But a bet involves risk. There's zero risk. God's not risking anything. So.
Well, I mean, that's exactly the point that we're making.
Oh, shut the fuck up!
Oh, I moved you down, buddy. You can listen.
Can I talk now?
No, Kitty, you can. I just want to finish this just real quick. Justin, so a bet by definition, if you just go to dictionary.com, it involves a risk. There's no risk. But I'll just say this. That's fine. I'll go with what you're saying, Justin. We don't need to argue that. I am going to stick on the point that it's not a bet from God's perspective. Now, if you want to say that the people that are not omniscient are being tested, they don't know what's going to happen, completely fine with that. I agree. And that's fine. And I do agree that taking away the kids and family, that's not really, that should not, you shouldn't lose your faith over that. And that's not, you can lose everything, even your own life. You shouldn't give up on Christ. You should, follow God regardless. I think that's true. You said the thing about Jesus, though, that I think is fascinating. Because I have mixed feelings about that, but I do think it's problematic on one hand. The reason, so when you said that Jesus could have failed, right? If Jesus is God, Justin, you're saying that Jesus could have sinned?
He could have sinned. That's why it was an actual test. There would be no true honor for him to do whatever he did if he could not fail. The only reason why he was bold and brave is because it was possible.
So what happened if he did sin?
Well, if he did sin, then Satan could not be judged because there would be no judge. God committed all judgment to Christ, and if there was no actual person that was worthy to be judge of man, then Satan can say, look, all these people that you killed or had to die, you have to resurrect them, or at least bring them back, because why are you keeping them from eternal life if they should not be judged? Like, there should be no standards. The standard maker cannot keep his own standards, so everyone should be released from the dead. So and then Satan could not be judged; he would not go to hell.
That's interesting. Okay, Kitty, you can come in. I do want to say one of you missed, but
yes, I wanted to finish.
No, I said, yeah, for sure, Neko. But go ahead, Kitty.
It's a beautiful and ultimately hopeful ending. After all the suffering and intense questioning, here's what happens in the final chapters of the book of Job. God speaks. God finally answers Job, not with a direct explanation for his suffering, but with a powerful and awe-inspiring series of rhetorical questions about the vastness and complexity of creation. This divine speech emphasizes God's sovereignty, wisdom, and power, highlighting the limitations of human understanding in the face of such grandeur. Job's repentance and humility. Job, humbled by God's majestic response, acknowledges his presumption in questioning God's justice. He repents in dust and ashes, recognizing his own ignorance and the immeasurable wisdom of God. Rebuke of Job's friends. God expresses his displeasure with Job's three friends, Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar, for their flawed and ultimately unhelpful arguments. He instructs them to offer a burnt offering and asks Job to pray for them, highlighting Job's restored standing with God. Restoration and blessing. God restores Job's fortunes abundantly. He receives double what he had before, twice the number of livestock, and presumably a renewed sense of well-being. New family. Job and his wife have 7 new sons and 3 new daughters, who are described as the most beautiful women in the land. This signifies a complete renewal of his family life. Long life and peace. Job lives for another 140 years and sees his children and grandchildren to the 4th generation, dying old and full of days. This emphasizes the completeness of his restoration and the blessings he receives in the end. In essence, the ending of Job doesn't provide a simple why for suffering. Instead, it emphasizes the incomprehensible wisdom and power of God, the importance of humility in the face of the divine, and ultimately, the possibility of restoration and blessing after enduring hardship. It's a testament to faith in God's ultimate justice, even if it's not always understood from a human perspective.
Okay, appreciate it.
If you can disregard the fact that Google continues to read it as J-O-B.
Jobs. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like it. But real quick, that's good. Katie, let me just say this, Necro. God didn't kill kids, okay? And somebody down in the chat, Morpheus, said that. It's stupid. You guys need to quit saying that. You're just being disingenuous. Necro.
He allowed Job to go through evil
Hey,
without just cause.
Necro. Anything that happens in life to people, God is allowing. So it's a stupid point.
Even though it's without just cause, that Job.
You said without just cause. Satan didn't present a just cause. He's not like, oh, let's do this to Job because he did something bad and we should kill him or let me kill him. That's not what happened. He went up there and he's just like, oh, he only served you because of that. It's not a just reason to do it. But God has a just reason to allow Satan to do it.
Even though Job was blameless and upright.
Doesn't matter. You can be blameless. God can still tests can happen to you. Even the rain falls on the just and the unjust. You have all kinds of things that happen to people. And so it isn't the case that you're going to have a cherry life just because you follow God. That's not promised. So I don't know why you say that. It's just a misunderstanding.
So, anyways, Kitty gave the justification. I mean, yeah, it's something I definitely heard. It's justification is that because God gave Job.
No, it's just a nice thing that God did. It's a nice thing that God did.
Hold on, let me finish. So because God gave Job the double the number of kids he had before,
I'm responding to it. That was a nice thing. It's not a justification. Stop.
Therefore, God, it was okay.
It was fine to kill the kids. I got it. Necro, pay attention. I'm responding to you. Kitty, please. Necro, pay attention because I'm responding before you're even finishing because I know what you're saying. First of all, no, it's not a justification. Someone may feel better about the situation. They have all these kids and stuff given back to them. God doesn't need a justification for what he did. Okay? That's the wrong way to look at it. God will do what he does. It's consistent with his nature. He does things and he has reasons that we may not be privy to. But when he gives, I'm certainly not privy to in many cases, but he gives us blessings. And if he gives you kids and all this other stuff as a result, or after you had some tragedy happen, that's him being kind to you. But that's not the case that he killed the kids, so quit saying that. He didn't do that. He removed his head.
The important thing is to note that even when he ripped his robe and said, naked as I came from my mother's womb, naked, he still got angry, Andrew. Remember, he still hurt his friend.
Yeah, sure, of course. People get angry.
Humility, Necro. You're not the only one speaking. I'm talking to Andrew. It wasn't just that. It was the lesson that he learned through humility.
Yeah, I said that. He learned from it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and it's like the whole point of all of this was to bless him. But Necro can't see that because he's such an anti-Christian and a bad faith actor. Yes, you are.
Well, just let him respond. I want to get Justin back in. I want to get Justin, and we can get Dr. Adams and Psycho. It's good to have you, Big Press, and new people here. But go ahead, Necro.
Yeah, so anyways, the reason I think it's important is that in Drew, I suppose you'll say if God, were to slay your child right in front of you, you would say that God is good. I highly doubt it.
I may not like it, but I know God is good. So
yeah, so you lost your child, and you're going to say before that God is good.
Yeah, and when stillborn babies, hold on, Kitty, hold on. When babies are dying still, miscarriages, and I had one in my family. My brother's wife had a miscarriage. Not cool. Did I say God is bad? God is good. So what's your point? I know what you're trying to do, Necro. That doesn't work.
Yeah,
I'm impervious to that.
I don't see how you can ever say that God took away your loving, your flesh.
Why does it follow that God did that?
I said if he did that.
You don't know that God did it.
If he killed your flesh and blood.
Yeah, and if he did it, why does it follow that he's wrong for doing it?
No, it's just you yourself. If you had it, so you're saying that God, you would still worship God, the God who killed your child.
Took my dad from COVID, then my brother 2 years later. I thank God every day that I'm his child.